Okay, we are in Brachot, page 62a in Yaakov, and we were discussing, amongst many other things, we had already said that you have to wipe, when you go to the bathroom, you're wiping yourself with your left hand. So he says, for what reason do we not wipe ourselves with our right hands after defecation, but only with the left hand? So Amar Rava said, Mipnei Torah nitna biyamin, because the Torah was given with Hashem's right hand. How do we know that? Shenamar, as it says in the verse in Devarim, Deuteronomy, Mimino eish dat lamo, from his right hand the fire of the law was given to them. We therefore give honor to the right hand and do not use it for this base purpose. So that's why when you're wiping yourself after you defecate, you use your left hand and not your right hand, or the hand that you ultimately is going to be the hand that you put tefillin on. Whatever you are, whatever hand you don't, whatever you wrap your tefillin on,
left hand.
so you'll be your right hand. Notice everybody, whatever your right, quote unquote, right hand will be. Okay.
Dominant hand. Right?
Dominant hand. Yes. So Rav Bar Chana Amar, Rav Bar Chana said, why can you do it? Because, why do it with the left? Mipnei shehi karova lapeh, because the right hand is close to the mouth. In other words, it is generally used for eating. So since it's generally used for eating, you don't want to use the hand that is generally used for eating to wipe yourself after defecation. By the way, it is normal. Let's understand something. It is, if you're a right-hander, it is normal to use your right hand, right? Because that's your dominant hand. If you're a left-hander, left-hander.
Well, and particularly we're talking about probably picking food up with your fingers too.
Also, there you go. You're right. You're eating chicken. So he says, and so the Maharsha brings down, or the Ashkel's bringing down, and likewise for most people, for most of people's other needs. It is therefore not fitting that it can be used for this ignoble purpose. According to this explanation, eating is meant only as an example of the many human needs served by the right hand. Alternatively, eating is meant precisely. We enjoin one to keep his eating hand to clean, so as not to render his food repugnant, which is forbidden. So that's another reason. A third reason. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says, Mipnei shekosher bat tefillin, because because the right hand is the one used to tie tefillin onto the left hand. We therefore do not wish to dishonor the right hand by using it for this base purpose. So he says, the famous question here, by the way, he says, although one's left arm has a greater honor, and that the tefillin are tied upon it, it is involved in this mitzvah only in a passive manner. The active part of the mitzvah, however, is performed by the right hand, which ties tefillin to the left hand. We do not permit that hand to perform the holy act of tying tefillin to be profaned through performing a performance of an ignoble act of wiping. Okay, so you would have argued, wait a second, I put tefillin on my left hand, so now you're hearing that it is a passive arm. It doesn't have, in other words, you don't have choices. It's either right or the left. That's the same thing. You have no other choices. So now I'm picking so the active hand, my right is tying it, my left is where I put my tefillin on. Okay? That's all it is. So now and by the way, you're going through this ultimately four reasons here, right? So most people will give you the Rav Shimon ben Lakish's reason. If you ask people why you can't, assuming they know the halacha, why you're not allowed to wipe your behind with your right arm, so they'll tell you because that's when you tie your tefillin with. Most people don't say because the Torah was given with the right hand, or because it's close to your mouth, or anything. Most people don't say that. And they don't say that. The fourth reason is so Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar Mipnei Shemare ba ta'amei Torah. Rav Nachman, and certainly nobody says this, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said, it's because one shows the cantillation notes of the Torah with the right hand. So, and the hand used for a holy purpose should not be used for a profane one. So, what's...
Like, when you're reading, you're pointing at me.
Oh, so here we go. So the notes of the Torah refer to the written symbols that indicate the musical tones used to chant the verses in the Tanakh, Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. If these notes are written into a scroll, one following them must do so with his right hand. Likewise, one following the custom of describing the note, the shape of the note, with his hand while chanting the tune may employ only the right hand. Rashi states that he himself witnessed the latter practice among readers who come from Eretz Israel. This is where we get the permission to have somebody go like this, give us signals.
Oh.
I didn't know you need permission.
Well, otherwise you have things going on all over the place. You know, so
Distractions.
So it wasn't done for. I mean, I didn't see it growing up, but I have seen it. It was interesting because I employed the system with Rabbi Linda, and even before that, when I was in Bangor, I also did it. And I first started in Sharon, Massachusetts.
That's where I saw it.
Right, I first started there, and then I remember I was in New York, and my brother-in-law said to me, "Look, they're giving signals. This isn't a frum place. I mean, these guys are experts in reading, and it was frum." And he said, "See, even they give signals." So he was, it was interesting. So today, I think it's become a very widespread practice to give signals, even though the Baal Kriya knows it. It's many times they'll know it. Hopefully they do. So still in all, you're giving the signals, and it's they're very quick. And but this is where it's coming from. This Rashi, the Rashi is. Let me see. Rashi says it pretty clearly, and everybody points to this Rashi too. I just have to. I can't find it right now. No, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. He said, "Negino Tame Mikra." This is the notes of the Mikra of the Torah, Nevi'im Ketuvim, like we just said. Ben Beniko B'Sefer, whether it's written in the Sefer or whether it's with the song, Shal Pasha Darga Shofar Ma'avich, and then you're using your hand, so to give to show the kriya that it comes. Okay, to show the people. That's all. So that's where it's coming from. He says and so Ashko continues. The various musical tones used in the chanting of the Torah were taught to Moshe at Sinai as a segment of the Torah. So in other words, these notes, like the vowels, were not something that were made up later to fit the text, as it were. They come from Moshe at Sinai. It was consequently prohibited to render these tunes as written symbols, since the oral Torah may not be written down. The eventual transcription of these notes was permitted only as part of the ad hoc decision permitting the transcription of the oral Torah, namely Mishnah and Talmud, lest it be forgotten. However, a Torah scroll with these notes written in it would be invalid for Torah reading. Presumably then, when Rashi discusses one who follows notes written onto a scroll, he refers to one studying in a legally invalid scroll and not one performing the public Torah reading. Alternatively, he may be discussing one reading from scrolls of Nevi'im Ketuvim, which are valid even if they include these notes. There is some controversy regarding the origin of the symbols used to represent these notes. Some hold that the symbols too were part of Moshe's legacy. Others attribute them to a later generation of scholars and scribes. At any rate, Rashi here clearly holds that these symbols were known to the Tanaim and the Amoraim. For listing of numerous places where the Zohar discusses the significance of the names and shapes of these notes, see the Sharei Zohar. Okay. But it's something that, again, we have to do. Yeah.
So what's he saying that apparently it was a practice in days gone by before printing that if you took an old Sefer Torah that was otherwise worn out and wouldn't have been useful, that you could go ahead and scribe the notes in there and then use that as a tikkun, as a practice. Yeah. Interesting.
Or if you put into Megillah, Esther, or any one of those, you can write in there.
Those are still valid.
Right.
So
In other words, yeah, I've never seen anybody do it. It would be fun because you could really put vowels and trope into Megillah, Esther, and it would make it so much easier to read. Really would. You don't have to think about it. But I mean, you just have to. It's like Haftorah today. The Haftorah. We have our books in the scroll. You don't do it, but in the Haftorah, you're reading it, and as long as you can read Hebrew and understand the notes, which is apparently a problem for a lot of people, even those who go up, because they mess up some words or they mess up the notes. The other thing is notes do change, by the way. Ashkenaz to Sfard is a major change in both Torah Ta'amim and also Nevi'im Ta'amim. They're very major. It's when it comes to their Torah reading, I actually like it better than our notes. Some of them I like better, but the Haftorah has no melody. No, it's just a fast reading. I don't. It's nothing. I don't enjoy it. It's very quick. It's they don't have the up and down that we have. Sephardi pronunciation.
It's more. I heard it one.
It's more
time.
nasal, but
kind of sing song. Yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah, I don't. The guy knew what the notes were. He told me what they were, but it didn't have. Like I said, the Torah was very embellished, and the Haftorah was very. We embellish it much more.
Yeah.
So I liked their Torah trope, but I like our Haftorah trope. But you can't mix and match like that.
Interesting.
You don't mix and match. You do what you do. But we have nice trope. I mean, and then you have, but there's like 6 or 7, I think 6 or 7 traditions as to what the trope is, and all of them are unique. They have some commonalities, but it's but they are different. So nobody's better than the other one. Okay. She says. Okay, so the Gemara corresponds to a Mariah dispute to a similar dispute between the Tanaim. Tanai, this dispute is like the one between the Tanaim, the rabbis who wrote the Mishnah, as follows. Rabbi Eliezer said, why can't I use my right hand to wipe myself? Again, the reason Rabbi Eliezer says, because one eats with that hand, so you don't. It could be because your reason you're eating with the hand, you're taking your chicken in your hand, and that would be disgusting to use the hand that you're wiping yourself with. Even if you do wash yourself, it would still be disgusting. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, and Rabbi Yeshua says, because one writes with it. So what are you writing with it? Again, holy things such as Torah scrolls, tefillin and mezuzot. So again, it wouldn't be bekavadik. It wouldn't be proper. It wouldn't be honorable to do that. And Rabbi Akiva, lastly, Rabbi Akiva says, "B'nei shemaret ba'tamei Torah." The one addition here is Rabbi Yeshua, but Rabbi Akiva says because one shows the cantillation notes of the Torah with it, and he gives one more on this. He says between the opinions of the various Tanaim and the Merayim, 5 reasons emerge for not wiping with the right hand. Number 1, the Torah was given with God's right hand. Number 2. The right is used for eating. 3, one ties film with it. 4, one shows the cantillation notes with it. And 5, it is used for writing holy things. According to the latter 4 reasons, left-handed individuals would be required to wipe their right hand with their right hand. So even though you're according to the latter 4, right? Not the latter 4, you would have to you would have to do it even. To wipe with the right hand. According to the first reason, however, even left-handed persons would use their left hand. We rule that the one who uses his left hand for all purposes must indeed wipe with his right. However, regarding one who uses his left hand for some purposes and a right for others, so Ben Yehudiah points out that while the first 2 reasons apply equally to men and women, the latter only apply to men. Yeah.
His comment earlier that you're wiping yourself and you're cleaning yourself, so such an ignoble purpose, you shouldn't use the right hand. But isn't also there a mitzvah that you need to keep yourself clean. So I mean, so why does we use the word ignoble? I mean, it's a necessary thing that you have to do. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an ignoble thing. Like it's a terrible thing that you have to use that hand for.
Again, because you're using the hand, you could be using the other one. So why would you denigrate if you?
Of course,
will?
Of course,
that's also saying.
I'm just questioning the
use of
language.
Yeah. You have to ask Mr.
Ignoble.
Wow. You have to ask the article.
That's their word.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the truth.
What's the actual word? You know.
That's their explanation.
They're just giving a windy explanation. In other words.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Right. It just says it's not proper. That's all. I don't know if maybe they're quoting somebody, but it's. I assume they would be quoting somebody, but yeah, they just want to get across the point that it's not a good thing to do. That's all. So ignoble. So.
It's separating out the subject. I guess it's covered someplace else that it's a necessity to keep yourself clean.
No, the necessity to keep yourself clean was covered here too. That I have to wipe myself. But again, if I have a choice of which hand to use, my right and my left, I'm going to. And again, most people do not think in that manner. If I'm a righty, I'm going to use my right hand. If I'm a lefty, I have to think about using my left hand. Until you don't have to think about it. But it's so that I'm recognizing that the right side of my body is spiritually higher or better or whatever you want to say than the left side of my body. And that's assigning something to, that's assigning a spiritual superiority to one side of my body. So when I do that, so now I have to that's why I put my right shoe on first, then my left shoe. Yeah. But I tie my left shoe first, then I tie my right shoe. And I untie my right shoe, untie my left shoe, I take my left shoe, take out my right shoe. How many people think about doing that? I mean, you don't, Not
ordinarily, unless you have
unless you have a tradition to do that, you're not going to do that. Yeah. That's why there was a famous story that there was a kid in college, not religious. Yeah. He went to Hebrew school, and he must have had an Orthodox teacher. For one grade, and the teacher told the class, they laughed at it, but he said, that's so unique. And so he, every day, would put on the right shoe, left shoe, tie the left shoe, tie the right shoe. Went all the way through college. And he said, when you go to college, normally you have a roommate, right? Oh. You move out of your house, you go to college, you're living in dorms. And so his non-Jewish roommate saw him every morning, left, right, left, and reversing that to the off. And he said to him, every morning, every time you do your shoes, you're doing it that way. Why? Is it something, you have a problem with? You're very consistent with what you're doing. It's not normal, And so the kid said, because my rabbi told us that's how Jews tie their shoes. So, by the way, if you said that if a Jew would say that to a Jew, that would be the end of the discussion. You would just say, okay, you're a nut, and you listen to your rabbi, and okay, fine, we have crazy laws. That would be the end of that. But non-Jews never stop there. Non-Jews always want to say, that's interesting, which means strange. Okay, why do you do that? Why does Jewish law care? She said, I don't know. He didn't. The rabbi, if the rabbi gave a reason, he didn't remember it. It was Hebrew school. So he said, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. So the guy looked at him. Now he looks at him and says, you're strange, okay? Because you don't know why you're doing this. You're doing this whole Mishagas. And so he didn't say Mishagas either, but so the kid decided he's going to go to the head of Hillel Mustam on campus. He went to the Hillel and asked. Now, depending on, this is where the story gets a little shaky, because depending on who was in Hillel, in other words, if it was a Reconstructionist, Reform, or a conservative rabbi, most of them don't know that halacha. Most of them don't. But if it was an Orthodox rabbi that he somehow ran into it, ultimately that's the story. He runs into an Orthodox rabbi who explains that to him, about the spirituality and so on and so forth. The kid gets turned on by that, and of course becomes a Baal Tshuva. Anim Amen. Okay, the rest of the story goes. You know Anim Amen, right? I believe in Mashiach. I believe Mashiach is going to come. Ani Mamin B'Emunah Shlema B'Vir Mashiach. You say it every day.
Yeah, but not the song.
No, but you say the words every day or so. That's what it is. So when you hear those stories, you go, Ani. But it's one of those stories that's a feel-good story. He becomes religious and, of course, gets married and so on and so forth. Okay. But again, the ending and the beginning, I don't know how much of it's real. But that is one thing that you always want to do. You want to connect with those kids. And that connected with him, that talked to him, that he would do that. So as a result of that, but that's the point. Your right is more powerful, is more spiritually attuned, or whatever, than your left. But the reason that is because Hashem gave the Torah with his right hand, and so on and so forth. So what you're doing is come and you have all these different reasons that go into why we shouldn't use the left hand, why we shouldn't use the right hand, but rather the left hand. That's all. But again, recognizing that the right hand, the right side of your body is more spiritual, or spiritually more tuned, only because Hashem gave with his right hand. And again, does Hashem have a right hand? No, of course not. It's only anthropomorphism that Hashem decided to give us. But it was telling us that our right is the dominant side, if you will, or actually in this case specifically, the right is the more spiritual part. And only if you're doing everything with your left does your left become your right. But if I'm back and forth, because some people write with their left because that's their dominant hand, but they throw with their right because they were taught to do that. Mm-hmm. They were trained out of that. So now they become basically ambidextrous. Mm-hmm. And therefore your left is still your left, according to that. Right. The fill-in made it be different. Right. Correct, right. Yes. But that, like I said, for the lefties of the world, it really is it becomes a tightrope as to what you're supposed to do with everything else. Okay. So here we go. Rav Tancha. Now we're going to what happens when you behave modestly in the bathroom. So
what page you on?
We're on 62A. Still not there. You're on 62B.
Yeah.
Right. So it says Ravi Tanchum ben Chanilai. So Rav Tanchum ben Chanilai said, "Mikol hatzanua b'beit hakisei nitzol mishlosh dvarim." Anybody who's modest in the bathroom is going to be saved from three things. One is min hanachashim, from snakes that hide there. Min hakravim, from the scorpions that hide there. Min hamazikin, and from the demons that frequent the latrine. Let me just finish. Yesh omrim, and some say af chalamotav miyushavim alav. Even his dreams will be calming to him. Okay, so what happens here? He's explaining, for one who is modest, attends to his needs quietly, so as not to advertise his presence. Since he does not agitate the snakes and the scorpions, they do not trouble him. As far as danger from demons is concerned, even they will not trouble one who is modest. That's according to the Marshar, attributes the safety of the individual to the angels that accompany a person. They will guide a modest person from these dangers, but will abandon one who is immodest. And the Gemara teaches that one's dreams are often brought on by activity of the demons. However, they will not disturb the sleep of the one who is modest. Yes?
So I understand it's on rare occasion that snakes and scorpions do get their way into houses.
So yeah?
I understand that it is on rare occasion that snakes and scorpions get their way into houses and stuff. I'm assuming this is back when
the trees were in the outhouse.
Right, with the dirt and stuff. All those
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today, it's the only thing you can... Not the only thing, because the snake and scorpion can still get in where there are scorpions. But
today, well, again, you were worried you were going to wake them up or something.
Right.
But here, what you want to do is you still want to be modest.
Right.
But it's not the same as when I go to an outhouse.
Right.
Yeah. And again, the other thing is you're a mazikin. So even if I get rid of the...
Right.
So you have to say I got rid of my snakes, I got rid of my scorpions, and I got rid of the mazikin. You have to say I got rid of everything in order to go crazy in the bathroom. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
got rid or pacify?
Say again?
Got rid of or pacify? Or got rid of
Passed by?
Pacify, because you didn't shoot away the scorpions.
No, I'm saying either you want to say that we no longer have scorpions and snakes in our homes,
right,
and the mazika no longer exist.
Ah.
So if you want to go with that, so then I guess you can swing off the chandelier. But if you want to do that in the bathroom, I mean, most people when they go in the bathroom, they are, and society has deemed it that it's not proper to go in front of people, and that's why we have stalls. We shut the doors, and that's why even at the urinals, lately of recent vintage, at least in from places, you have the walls separating us. That's not every place. If you go to college, it's not like that.
A lot of public places, I think is more of a trend today, and for some time at least, it used to be no partitions between urinals. Now you've at least got a little divider.
Right, so I'm saying in colleges you still don't have that divider, because I know when I go to Notre Dame they don't have that, at least in the old bathroom I go to. But they do if I go to gas stations, they normally don't have, I don't think they, it depends on where you are, but not not the gas stations, the what are they called on the highway? The
rest stops.
Rest stops.
Yeah.
The rest stops. They normally don't have it. It's normally.
I remember the subject came up previously. We were talking at the old ballpark in St. Louis in the men's room.
Right. It's just a wall.
You didn't even have the individual urinals. You had there. I think it was just a long either on the floor or just a long trough against the wall.
Right. It's just a wall.
Just stand where you want to.
Right.
Also, people don't have chandeliers in the bathroom.
There you go. But you never know about the chandelier.
Really tall bathroom.
But it's what I'm saying is you want to always act modest. So society today has deemed it proper to be modest in the bathroom, and that's why I don't think people normally don't speak in the bathroom.
That's true.
It's not a time that you go in there, again, when the women go with themselves to put on their makeup, I don't know what they do. It's only based upon TV that they put on makeup here. But they ask each other to go to the bathroom. I never got that. But that's because I'm a male, I guess. It's Mars and Venus sort of thing. You know what I'm saying when I say Mars and Venus? It's a book, Men and Mars from Venus.
God are born, goddess of love.
So yeah, no, men are from Mars, women are from Venus is the name of a book. Explain the differences between the two sexes. So whenever you hear Mars and Venus, that's always referring back to that. It's a psychologist who wrote the book. It's a very funny book, by the way. If you ever get a chance to read it, it's a very funny book. It will give you a lot of insight as to
about 20 years ago. It's been a while since.
Oh God, it must have been longer than that.
Yeah.
I was young.
80s even maybe.
Probably in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't think it was written later than that. I don't think it was written earlier.
It's also the representation of man, Mars, God of War.
Yeah.
Romans.
Oh, it could be. I never thought about that. Yeah,
Venus,
it could be.
goddess of love or something.
Right.
Yeah, so she represents women. So if you take it back to Greek, it's Ares and Aphrodite.
Okay.
So that Mars.
Right. But like I said, if you get a chance to read it, and by the way, if you don't want to read that, you just have to go on Torah anytime, and you can watch Rabbi Schaefer say his thing on men are from Mars, men are from Venus is very funny. Anybody who does that topic is going to be funny. Anybody who does it's just funny because they all bring up actual examples of how we miscommunicate, and it's always fascinating when you hear it. It's all true. There's no question about it. Both sexes admit to it, that is true. We think differently. We have a whole different thing. So it's like we come from two different planets. Okay, but that would be going into. So again, here, how do I get into that? Oh, because of this. Okay. So like I said, when you go into the chin, you want to be, or the bathroom, you want to be, like I said, modest about it. Okay, so it continues. It says, "Who be kise dahavi b'Tveria." So there was a certain latrine in Tveria that was so dangerous. Ki havi ayole be trey afilu b'mama mitazke. That when two would enter together, even in the daytime, they would be harmed by the demons. And he explains, although demons will not usually trouble two people together and are generally less active during the day, The demons of this latrine were particularly dangerous.
Dude, are outhouses like the home of demons?
Say again?
Is that where the demons hang out during the day?
Latrine?
Yeah. Or at least
Well, this place. Only this place.
Okay. Is that like the hot spot? When they all go away at night, when the morning comes up, that they all go to that outhouse?
No, there was one certain place that they were just dangerous. I don't know why.
Was it? Huh. So I'm trying to think because by context when it
All
says.
right, let's just finish the story.
Yeah,
Then you can
okay.
ask them to context. Hey, don't get caught. I mean, it's a story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, Rav Ami Rav Asi Ahava Ayle Bey Chad Vechad Lechude Velo Mitazke. But Rav Ami and Rav Asi entered it each alone, and they weren't harmed. Amr the Rabbanan. The rabbi said to them, "Lo Mistafitu, are you not afraid?" Amru Lahu. They said to them, Anan Kabbalah Gamrina. We have a tradition from our teachers. Kabbalah, what's a Kabbalah? Kabbalah, the Bekise, Disnuata Ushtikuta. The tradition concerning the latrine is one of modesty and silence. Our observance of this tradition protects us. Kabbalah, the Yisure Shtuka Mibai Rachme. The tradition concerning sufferings is one of silence and praying for mercy, which she explained. Acceptance of the afflictions in silence and without complaint is in the understanding that they are justly administered. Ben Yehudiah questions why Rav Ami and Rav Asi mention the second tradition in context of the laws of modesty. He explains that they intend to show that their tradition does not require one to maintain complete silence in the latrine, only to refrain from speech. This is evident from the second tradition, in which the word silence obviously refers to the absence of resentful speech. In the place of Kabbalah, Aruch reads the word Kibbalah in the amulet. Thus, Rav Ami and Rav Asi were saying that their amulet to guard against demons of the latrine is modesty and silence, while the amulet that will save a sufferer from his afflictions is unaccompanying silence and prayer. Behavior of this sort is efficacious as well as any amulet. Yeah. So now what were you going to ask?
So before I said you have to be modest in the bathroom, or else you can arouse
Snakes,
scorpions, and
or
demons,
demons, right?
So then going by context of that, the people who were going to this bathroom were arousing the demons constantly.
No, they're just very active. Apparently, they didn't care. You know what's comparable? I'll give you a comparison.
Raccoons.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to do that. I was going to go pigeons.
Oh, those.
Pigeons. If you have pigeons in the country, they will fly away when you come. They also have their coo is very loud. High pitched.
Yeah.
And because they don't have the smoke in their, they're not polluted. But they'll fly away. On the other hand, if you're in New York, you can walk amongst the pigeons. They don't move for you. They're so used to humans, they don't move. So you just walk, and that's it. So this would be the same thing. Apparently, if I'm to take this story very literally, then it's just telling me that the demons were so used to people that they didn't really care about it, and they would be just found. That'll be it. But you have a whole. I mean, the question is, how much of it do we take literally, and how much is supposed to be telling us something else? Yeah. What are you gonna say?
So in that case, are demons just animals?
No, demons are demons.
No,
Demons
right,
are
but they
spiritual.
act like, in this case...
I'm giving you a comparison.
No, right. But, so what I was saying before, with context, when the two rabbis go in by themselves even, and they say, our secret was that we were quiet and modest in the bathroom, and anybody else who goes in there, even two people, will be attacked or messed with,
right.
or harmed.
Oh, right.
But, so then...
Were they not?
No, it's because we're always modest. That because of that trait of always being modest, that trait protected us. Not that we were modest in that particular bathroom, Because we were always modest. So that's going back to what we said before.
Okay.
It protects you.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, it's true that if you're not making noise, that the scorpions and the other ones won't come for you fine, because that comes from noise and so on and so forth. But here, if the reward, the spiritual reward is Hashem will protect me. So that's what they're really talking about. They're not saying that when we went in there, we whispered, we didn't say anything. Because that, you're not allowed to rely upon a miracle.
Right.
So, if you know it's a dangerous place, that would be a thing. You can't go into that dangerous place without taking precautions. So then you'd have to take at least, and there, in this place in Tiberias, apparently even if you had 2 people, it would not save you from the mazikin. From the other animals, it would save you better, but not from the mazikin. So they said, in the merit, they said, so how could you go in if you're only one person? In the merit, that's what they're saying, the merit of always being this way, Hashem is protecting you. Understand?
Yeah.
That's really what you're going for. Okay. So I'm just looking very quickly. It doesn't, besides the point of being of the merit, it doesn't really say anything else. Yeah. Like I said, the other part that I'd be curious about, and that always comes to these sort of questions when it comes to these stories, is what else are they trying to say? Are they just trying to tell us that really mazikin and that's the end of it? And what is a mazik anyway?
Yeah.
That's not a spiritual destroyer. What is a spiritual destroyer? We use the terms demon, whatever you want to think, but mazik doesn't mean demon. Mazik is the causative form of damage. Mazik is hif'il. So it's from nezek. Nezek is damage. Mazik is causes damage. So we're understanding that to mean causing spiritual damage. And the question is, what allows a mazik to operate? Our sin. We create the mazikin.
Oh wait, those are personal demons.
In English, you would say personal demons. In English is when you're saying that yes, you're right with that, but it's when we say personal demons, we mean that we have some addictions. That's my personal demons. But this is a spiritual. This is a spiritual thing I create through my actions. So it's not personal demon. It's just within my mind.
It's in the sense of the little devil perches on your shoulder.
Right.
Do that.
Right. But that's the difference between personal demons and what I'm talking about. Right. Personal demons is my mind.
Right.
But it's mazikin. Mazikin is what?
Wouldn't that be something
No,
similar?
mazikin is a real thing. Mazikin, I do something wrong.
Oh, well, you're saying, but in your mind has created that though. So
My action.
Your action.
My action, not my mind. My action. I did a sin, so I create a mazik.
A negative spiritual force.
Yes. Fine.
Okay.
And that is going to come to haunt me, literally. So, if I the only way to protect myself against mazikin is through teshuva, and all those things that we do, tefillah, blah blah blah, and that's how you get rid of the mazikin.
Yeah, when we talk about ghosts and spirits and stuff like that, again, people want to there's a ghost and you see this image. It's just not necessarily like that, is it? I mean, it's a spiritual force. It's invisible.
Right. Right.
However we define it, I don't know if can we actually define that?
Right. A ghost. I don't know. Can an apparition? Can you see an apparition? I guess you could, but again,
that would be connected.
They say you can see mazikin. The Gemara tells you how to see mazikin. We went through it too.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to do it.
We're talking about if we take away all the.
You put ashes in this on your eyes. I mean, to update the Gemara, but stop smoking dope.
Animals might see something.
The animals see it, right? The animals see it because they don't use. We see straight ahead. We don't really use our peripheral vision. But from peripheral vision is where you see everything. That's really where you're going to see.
Or let your eyes unfocus.
Right. again, that sort of thing. Then you can start to see. The Gemara said if we would see the mazikim in the air, we go insane because we're all around. So you could say that's bacteria. You could say a whole bunch of things.
The modern scientific mind talks about all the bacteria that's in the air.
Right, so that's how people want to push that Gemara away. But it really could be mazikin. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you could see the team that you've created through your mitzvot and your averot, your defense team versus your prosecuting attorney team, we create everything. Okay, God gave us. You're even. You're an A. Like I said in one Yom Kippur speech, we're all A students. Okay, what we do with that A is up to us. So either I can increase my A by doing all the mitzvot, and I have a tremendous defense team, and I have nobody on the opposition. I'm going to make it. On the other hand, each time I speak lashon hara, rechilut, or anything else, I don't put my tefillin on right. I put it here instead of here, whatever they're going to do. Okay, fine. And then, I don't give proper tzedakah, whatever my avera is. So now I'm building up the prosecuting attorney's team. I'm doing their work for them. Okay, and so if I would see, as it were, my left and my right, what I've built up. By the way, you probably would go insane because you're thinking, I created that and I only have two here. I'm going to really work. I have to work hard to build up my defense team, really hard. I mean, that can make you do tshuva, but that's really how you're supposed to think about it. I want to build up a really great defense team, so I want to involve myself in mitzvot, and I want to destroy this team. And each time I do tshuva, and I figured out what I'm doing. By the way, tshuva is not so easy. Let's understand something. I have to recognize what I've done is wrong, apologize, and want to change that, and actually change that. If I've done that, then I'm starting to take away the prosecuting attorney's team. Each time I do it, I put another bang in his court, and he starts to lose people left and right. He has to fire them. Meanwhile, I'm building up my other team. You understand? So it's a real balancing act. If I can envision that, then it becomes very effective. Otherwise, it doesn't. And I think that's why when the Gemara is using the word mazikin, and again, we translate it as demon, so we laugh it off. Yeah. But it's not a demon, it's a spiritual damager that I've caused. Okay? And then we'll stop there.